What is up, everybody? It's Blind Metal Gamer here, and today on the blind side, we're going to be remembering a wrestling legend who unfortunately passed away this past week. Kamala, the Ugandan giant. He passed away August 9th, 2020, at the age of 70. And I'm going to go on and be very honest here. I am very saddened by this. I am very much was not expecting it. I was hoping, to hear maybe of a Kamala Hall of Fame announcement and he be inducted into the Hall of Fame while he was alive, but that won't happen. But we're gonna look back on Kamala's career, and we're going to look back on his legacy within the business. We're going to start by he was born in 1950 as James Harris, and he was a very, very big guy. So when you were going to wrestle Kamala, you were going in, and it was just very much known that, you were going to have to bring your A game, because he was a super heavyweight. And he had many different ring names. He wrestled as Sugar Bear Harris in the Continental Wrestling Association. He competed in World Class Championship Wrestling as Kamala. He competed in Jim Crockett Promotions, I believe, as Kamala. He competed in the WWF as Kamala, and then in WCW. And I believe he competed even in JCW, Juggalo Championship Wrestling. So, a lot to kind of go through. As far as career-wise, he was a big star. He made his debut, I believe, in 1978 in the Fuller territory of the Continental Wrestling Association. He competed in Memphis Wrestling for a while. He actually got his start in Memphis. Jerry the King Lawler gave him the name Kamala. Jerry Lawler wanted to call him Kamala with an I, but he suggested no, Kamala. It's a lot more savage, it's a lot more brutal, and his style wasn't the most technical. You didn't see Kamala doing head scissors and Frankensteiners and Hurricanranas and plotches and suicide dives and all that. You didn't see head scissors takedowns from him. You didn't see arm drags. You didn't see any high-risk maneuvers. What he did was simple yet effective. Chokes, chops, slaps, punches, and bites. And you're probably thinking, well, why would that be an effective style of wrestling? You have to understand that he was the wild savage from the Uganda. He was the one that you had to fear, and he would put fear in you. He was an intimidating dude, was Kamala. When he went down to that ring, as a little kid, when I watched him growing up, it scared the shit out of me, because I was like, oh God, here comes the big savage, from the Ugandas. And the one thing that made that even more believable is the managers he had. He had Skandor Agbar. He was part of Devastation Incorporated. He feuded with the Von Erichs while in World Class. When he went to the WWF in 1984, from 1984 to 1986, he feuded with Hulk Hogan. So there was a program there he worked with Hulk Hogan for a while. Then he returned back to World Class, feuded with the Von Erichs again, and then Bruiser Brody. And when Brody was tragically murdered in 1988 in Puerto Rico, he being Kamala, had to face, I believe it was Kevin Von Erich or Kerry Von Erich, in place of Bruiser. And in my opinion, I think, that was a good move, but, Kamala, I'm sure, worked that match very effectively. Then he went over to Europe for a while. Then he went back to WWF in 1992. And he competed as Kamala. He worked with Kim Chi as his handler. He was a heel. He worked again, not with Hulk Hogan, but he worked with The Undertaker. He had a program with The Undertaker, and then he became babyface and worked with Yokozuna and that bunch when the Doctor of Style Slick took him over as his handler and really guided Kamala to being a good babyface. But see, the thing with Kamala is that you never heard him speak. You know, one thing that really intrigued me as a younger wrestling fan was, well, why did Kamala not speak? Why did he have someone talk for him? Why did he have the managers? Even as a good guy, I thought, okay, Kamala, with his manager, he's a bad guy. And then when he had the manager, Doctor of Style Slick, he's a good guy. But what I learned later on, I did a Wikipedia on him. I read up on him and learned that part of the deal was that he didn't need a mouthpiece. Or he didn't need to talk, on that. He had a mouthpiece. And the mouthpieces did the talking for him. Because I'm pretty sure that if he talked in his normal Mississippi voice, it wouldn't have worked. But having the Ugandan savage, that don't speak English, that he's unable to speak English, all he knows is violence and the ways of the savage. That's why the mouthpieces were crucial for him. Come on. It had to be done. You had to have that mouthpiece, and, you had, in world class, you had Skandor Akbar, a very good talker in wrestling. You had Kim Chi, and I believe he may have been managed by Bobby Heenan. I'm not sure. So maybe, I forget who his mouthpiece was in the early 90s when he came to WWF. And then in the early 80s, he worked with Hulk Hogan. I forget who his manager was. It may have been Bobby Heenan back in the 80s. I'm not really sure. I don't remember offhand. Then, he had the Doctor of Style Slick, who was a good mouthpiece. I thought that was actually pretty cool. And then he went to WC. He left in 1992, the WWF. Then he went to work for World Championship Wrestling in WCW, along with Hogan and all that bunch. And he went into the Dungeon of Doom, he being Kamala. And again, he feuded with Hogan and his babyface crew down in WCW. Now, I'm going to be very honest when I say this. I'm not trying to nitpick. I'm not trying to be criticizing. I'm not going to critique. But I would have maybe done that a little bit differently with Kamala going against Hogan again. I would have maybe had him go up against Sting or some of WCW's other top baby faces that he had never competed against before. But still be in the Dungeon of Doom, because everybody had seen the Hulk Hogan Kamala concept back in the WWF. So, he went and did that. Then he went off and competed on the independents. He went over to Europe. He wrestled as the Mississippi Mauler for a while. He couldn't use the name Kamala the Ugandan Giant over in Europe. They wouldn't let him. So he had to use the name the Mississippi Mauler. So he got to be doing his normal American, but, from Mississippi. And then he went over to compete in JCW for a little bit. And then he went back and started making sporadic appearances in WWF / WWE in 2001. Then he had his last match in the WWE ring against Umaga in 2006, where, if you've not watched it, Umaga and Armando Alejandro Estrada just decimated Kamala and Kim Chi. So, kind of a throwback for all the younger fans that never got to see Kamala and Kim Chi's work. I'm sure you can find all of Kamala's work on the WWE Network. I'm sure they are doing the best of Kamala or remembering Kamala on the network. Or you can just YouTube Kamala the Ugandan Giant, and I'm sure you'll find some good matches to watch on YouTube. But yeah, Kamala is no longer with us. He, again, passing away at the age of 70. And it's just a sad, sad moment in wrestling. I mean, I remember last year, or earlier this year, we lost Howard Finkel, and that was sad. And Me and my friend Denver Queen did a big thing for that, and unfortunately, she couldn't be here with us today, with me today for this. But you know, Kamala, the Ugandan giant, very good wrestler, very good worker. And, I heard he was very, very understanding if you blew a spot or if you screwed up. I heard that there was one story, I forget who the wrestler was, but they were working Kamala, and it was Andre. That's right, it was Andre the Giant, and I think it was either Kamala or yeah, it was Kamala who brought some heat with him to the arena that night because Andre was so big. He was afraid of what Andre might do if he screwed up, and Kamala blew a spot. And Andre was very, very forgiving and understanding of Kamala for that. That we're all human, we all make a mistake. And I remember Mick Foley wrestled Kamala in 1986. And again, I remember, hearing about this, by the way. Kamala told Mick, look, you screwed up. It's okay. We all make mistakes. And he didn't make a big deal of it. Like I've heard stories of some wrestlers, not all of them. I'm not trying to slander anyone here, but I've heard stories, and again, I'm just looking at this through from the outside, looking in. But I've heard stories of some wrestlers that would make a big deal of a spot being blown or a botch. Kamala never did that, from what I could gather, as far as reading up for this episode and watching videos on YouTube for this episode. So Kamala's character was very, very good in and out of the ring. When he was done with wrestling in 2006, he made a CD. It's called Kamala Sings. I'm pretty sure you can find it on YouTube to listen to. He supported wooden chairs, or made wooden chairs. And then, he started suffering health issues. Diabetes was a big factor in his life, and he had to have both his legs amputated. And then, I think it was last year or the year before, Kamala was hospitalized. He couldn't speak. He was on life support. And then that got taken care of. And then he went into the hospital. He was for something. And then he tested positive for this COVID-19 that's going around. And then he went into cardiac arrest and passed. So a very sad, sad way to go there. But I do want to say that as a fan, that I did enjoy Kamala's work. It was very good. It wasn't the most technical wrestling. It wasn't the most sound wrestling. It wasn't the most crisp. But for what it was, for being a heel, being an effective heel in that character space, Kamala was the best at what he did, and he was a damn effective heel, and a very good one. So I'm going to go on and say this much here. Kamala, may you rest in peace. Your legacy will live on forever. And I do want to say that if someone from the WWE is listening to this, if anybody from WWE is listening, be it Triple H, Stephanie, anybody, whoever does the Hall of Fame, whoever's in charge of that, Kamala needs to go into the Hall of Fame because he deserves it. Kamala, the Ugandan giant, deserves to be a part of the WWE Hall of Fame, either as a part of the Legacy class or as a part of an actual class. I would say don't just give him the legacy treatment. Give him the honor and prestige of being part of a Hall of Fame class. I know you got your legacy class to honor those who have passed, but come on, this is a legend here. This is a legend of wrestling. And he had a very storied career. So if WWE is listening to this, make Kamala a part of the WWE Hall of Fame. I'm going to go on and wrap this up here now and let everyone know this has been my tribute to Kamala, the Ugandan giant. I hope everybody enjoys this. And in the next podcast, I'll be doing a back to school themed podcast. It will not be until August 30th, so we're going to take a little break. On the 23rd, I'll be watching SummerSlam, so I'm going to do that. And then on the 30th, I'll be back with episode 18, I do believe, which will be a back to school episode. I plan to have an interview, a special guest, which that'll be awesome. So, with that being said, this has been episode number 17 of The Blind Side, remembering Kamala, the Ugandan giant, a true legend of professional wrestling. I'll see you on the next podcast, and until then, so long everyone, stay healthy, stay safe, and stay cool. Peace out, everybody.